So with Jermell Charlo now being out, and you have the 154 division just dismantled right now, I'm trying to find opponents right now who actually can contend against Tszyu, and he has no options. It could be I don't even know, man. There's a lot of guys out there, but I just don't know right now. I mean, Charlo, he wants to fight, but he's not really a good option right now because we just don't know where he wants to be. He doesn't even know. He said plans of possibly going back to 154 and doing some other things, but as far as directly saying that he's only going to fight Tszyu and stuff like that, that hasn't come already. And just a lot of other things with Erislandy. I don't know if Lubin will actually be an option for Tszyu. I would like to see him be an option for Tszyu because I mean, eventually the belts will be probably given up somehow, or the sanctioning bodies will probably try to take the belts back. If they're not, I mean, if anyone's not active, they have to try to get something done. It's been a long time. The fight's been going on. It's almost, what, 2 years that the fight was supposed to happen? A year? What was it, a year, 2 years? Technically, it was supposed to be 2 years because of, it was supposed to happen after the Castano fight. And the Castano fight, the rematch happened, like, what, almost a year later? So, it's been a long time, man. Tszyu been waiting like 2 years on Undisputed. And he's trying to move up soon. So, I feel like the best case scenario right now is for Charlo just to give up the belts. He's already lost one belt, so he's kind of in a position where I don't think he's the one that's going to pay for the sanctioning fees on the belts and things like that. It's just a whole nother situation, especially when you try to pay for him to get him back. And the division, it'll be, I mean, if he can come back and try to fight Tszyu and get a victory, it'll be good for him. Then he can just breeze off on 54 because nobody's at the division. But I don't see that happening because just the way things have gone, Tszyu's really a problem right now. A lot of guys, like 54 has been kind of tricky because there's been a lot of upsets in 154 from the Fundora fight. Tszyu felt like Fundora would be a option one day. That didn't happen because he lost to Mendoza. But him trying to fight any other guys in the division, it'd be a waste. He already said soon he'll be going to 160 next year, or towards the end of next year, or even 2025. But it's at 12 months. So, but with Charlo right now, his plans, I don't think he's gonna ever face Tszyu. I hear people saying about Crawford. See, this is my thing about the Crawford and Tszyu fight happening. To the average boxing fan, that would be a good fight, but well, not the average boxing fan. Die-hard boxing fans, it'll be a great fight. But for casuals and average boxing fans, I don't think they would appreciate a fight like that right now between those two because people still don't want to give Tszyu credit. So I feel like giving him a position where he gotta where he's going to take the belts away from Charlo without Charlo wanting to fight him, I think that'll be an excellent fight. I mean, an excellent position for him to be in because Charlo's not trying to take the fights. Charlo's not trying to fight him. So I feel like he's in an excellent position where he don't need to move right now or try to go after Crawford, anything like that. I don't want him to give Charlo a reason to say, well, I was just going to try to go fight Tszyu just now. If I was Tszyu, I've been waiting this long. Let me wait on the belts. See if I can get all of them. Once I get all of them, Then I'll go to 160 and I'll start reigning supreme there, and I'll be undisputed there. See, what's gonna happen is Tszyu gonna end up being undisputed at 54 and 60. That's gonna be a problem for a lot of guys. But right now, 54, I don't want him to leave, because a lot of guys, I don't want the fans, Tszyu fans, don't. Everyone who's saying Tim need to fight Crawford, that's a distraction. Don't let them fool you. Please do not let them fool you. Him fighting Crawford will not help his situation with Charlo. It won't. It'll be a distraction. Crawford's not reigning at 54 right now. He hasn't even fought at 54 right now. Do not let them put him in a position where he's just trying to get him out the way so he can have an excuse of, well, I'll just fight the other person. You see what he did to Andre. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to say, well, he pulled out the fight. He didn't want to do it, so I had to move on to someone else. You see, fighting Crawford. How am I going to fight Tszyu if he's fighting Crawford right now? I wanted to fight Tszyu for undisputed, but he went on to fight Crawford. I'm not waiting around on Tszyu when I just had a hard fight with Canelo. That's what he's going to end up saying. So look, don't even do it. Don't do it at all. What I would say is keep doing what you're doing. You're building your own legacy. Right now, you're in a position where you don't need a name under your belt, or you don't need to chase a name right now. It's going to come. Right now, you become your own name. Your name going to be bigger than anybody else right now. Just keep getting the fights and beating guys like you're doing. And that's all you got to do. See, a lot of these guys, they want to distract you and try to throw opponents in your face. Well, fight this guy, fight this guy, fight this guy. They think this is a video game. Like, this man has to rest, he has to train, he has to develop. You know what I'm saying? He has things he has to do also. He's not a machine, like, but also he's in a position where he feels like he needs to do it, and he's ready. He feels like he's trained enough and developed enough. And what I've seen lately, he's definitely developed, especially with like the defense and the way he's just his footwork, the way he pivots off different shots that he gives or takes. A lot of things like that he worked on from this fight to the last fight. Just instincts, different things like that. Nothing too intricate or nothing like that, but he did some very decent things, I'll say. But will it continue as far as with the level of competition? I would say yes at this point, because Tszyu, he's basically raised himself every time he faces higher competition. He fights to his level of competition. When his competition goes up, he goes up. It's kind of like what Crawford does. That's why I don't want people to try to see what they're doing is the guys like Tszyu and Crawford and all these other guys, they just now getting themselves in a position where they can be a champion or a top fighter. Now the guys who's been on top this whole time, now they want Tszyu and all these guys to give them a break and try to avoid them. Don't fall for that trick. I've been watching boxing too long. I've been waiting on all these fights. Now these guys trying to act like they want to get up and fight Tszyu and all this. No, y'all don't. No, you don't. It's a distraction. No, they don't. I'd rather them just lose the belts, because once these guys lose the belts, they'll drop down in the rankings and they'll start all over. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just see what Charlo does. If he wants to fight him, then we're gonna respect that. Respect him as a champion, as an undisputed champion. But he's no longer undisputed, but he'll be able to get the belts back if he fights Tszyu. But if he doesn't, then we're just gonna move on. We're gonna know where Tszyu stands, and we're gonna know how everything's gonna go. And it's gonna be just like that. But I feel like everyone knows now at this point that it's make or break for a lot of guys right now, especially guys who's been holding up divisions, and they want to kind of have everybody give them a fair shake as far as getting back on their feet and getting revenge on certain losses and things like that. Getting back in the ring, and it's hard to get back in the ring in a rematch when you say it was hard to get put the fight together the first time. You know what I'm saying? So But with the Tszyu thing, I feel like if I had to choose a scenario that he would actually fight at right now, I would say that Erislandy Lara will be probably his best option right now. As far as if he was to fight at 154, let's just say he doesn't fight Charlo and he has no options as far as with Charlo and the belts are given up. They're probably gonna raise Lara up to be next in line for a title shot. Then it'll most likely be a Tszyu. And then when it becomes Tszyu, he will challenge him probably as soon as possible, because they both been trying to wait on top fights, especially Erislandy Lara. He's been waiting a very long time. He's put in a lot of work too, man. I feel like he's not getting his just due. He's fought many contenders. I know he had a slip up with Fundora. It was a hard fight. I think he learned from that fight, that Fundora fight. Honestly, he could have came out this Jesus Ramos fight and fought the same exact way. To be honest, I thought maybe he would have some of the same slip-ups as far as his defense, but he stayed disciplined. He didn't try to have basically a Mexican-style fight. He stayed on the outside box, did everything he needed to. I feel like he's in the best position where he's the best all-around fighter that Tszyu can fight right now. Would he be a better option than Charlo at 154? I mean, who knows? I would have loved to see him go further in rounds with Charlo, but that's not really what happened. But we can all wish. But with Tszyu, I feel like he could have a better chance as far as the guys he previously faced, because he's fought a lot of people, man. He's seen a lot of styles. Whether it's Fundora, Jason Rosario, Charlo, just a lot of people he's fought. Nathaniel Gallimore, he's fought a lot of people, so I feel like he'll be a good option. But after him, there's going to be no one else. He'll be the last option for Tszyu. Then after that, Tszyu is basically going to go off, either have a couple, one or two more fights at 154, or he's going to go to 160. He'd already said he's going to go to 160, but I just don't know what time period. I just know he said within 12 months. Seems like he's just going to give his brother, I guess, a chance at the belts instead of trying to hold on to them and let him go at the last minute. I think he feels it'll be a better chance if he just can have a couple of fights and then go on about his business at 160. I think that'll be the best option for him right now, because there's not a lot of people at 160 right now reigning. And I feel like Tszyu is going to basically clean up the work that guys like Canelo and both of the Charlos and Andre didn't have a chance at doing. Well, they had a chance, but some guys didn't, some guys did. Andre didn't have a chance because they didn't set the fights. Same way Tszyu's getting done. I want people to always remember that. Like, the things that are happening to Tszyu, they're not new things. They've been happening to Demetrius Andre for about 8, 9, 10 years now. So I've been saying the same thing about how these fighters are using super fights and sanctioning bodies and different things to try to avoid fighters and not be able to give them a chance. I want to do something else later on too on as far as fighters resumes and guys who just giving other fighters chances. One fighter in particular, people are gonna be surprised by. He's giving a lot of top fighters chances at fights, belts, chance at I mean, some fighters, man, in history, you just got to realize, like, without them actually being able to get in the ring and fight someone, a lot of these big fights wouldn't happen right now. See, before we even get to a Spence or Crawford fight, you got to realize it's a lot of guys who had to give Spence, Crawford, or a lot of other guys chances to get in the ring. That's why it's hard for me to respect champions like Anthony Joshua and these other guys, because they don't really give people a fair chance as far as getting the belt and winning in a fair fight. They won't even accept the fight, or they'll say it has to do with something. It's discrimination at the end of the day. Whether you look at it or not. You're not giving me a fair shot, but you're giving someone else that's less qualified a shot. Especially with all these other situations with boxers now at 154 and 60. But I just feel like the mandatories just have to be in order at the same time. We have to have certain limits. Guys can't just hold on to belts a lot of times. Like, other people have careers. We have hundreds of boxers. We don't need to wait on certain guys for belts, especially guys who are pay-per-view stars, man. I can understand if the business of boxing would just say, hey, we need to value the guys who are winning and taking what we consider hard fights, I guess. But to not really just do the other things that we need to do as far as with the business, it's not going too well. I don't like how people are just going around fights, man. You got certain promoters and guys that you can get with, and you don't have to really do anything. All you have to do is show up, make sure you go 12 rounds, don't get knocked out, and they're gonna make sure that you'll be all right. But I don't really like how that can really go, honestly. Most of the guys at 154 are either basically out of their prime, or young guys who haven't entered their prime, or just now entering their prime. Even though Lou was one of the youngest guys around the division, he still could be an option. But right now, if I had to really guess, I would say by spring, winter time, they'll basically give time for Charlo to make a decision on what would happen. I don't want to wait until next summer to see if Tszyu or him will fight. That'll be a long time. I'm pretty sure Tszyu's not going to wait that long. But if he has to stay active around that time, he will. That's the best thing he can do right now, stay active. A lot of guys who don't want to stay active and they just want to fight once a year, they're going to end up putting themselves in a position where they're not going to be in fight mode, because a lot of other guys, they're in a position right now where they can train and fight and do other things, especially with like dieting, nutrition, staying on weight. See, a lot of guys, that's why when they come from a long layoff, they have to go up in weight, like the 154, 160. It's a lot of young guys now, they're already like going up 3 weight classes. That's not good. That shows that you're not training when you're off, during your off time. That shows that right now you're kind of partying a little too much, doing a lot of other things. I feel like we should do it like this. Since Tszyu hasn't fought either Charlo yet, and they're both still technically at 154 and 160, I feel like at this moment, since he's still young, he should just basically do what boxing fans been wishing people would do. Finish the division of 154. Just wait around for me. Run Charlo up out of there. Tszyu gonna run, trust me. Charlo done pissed him off to the point where Tszyu gonna run him out of the division now. He's like, oh, you talking now? Oh, I don't hear you talking now. Yeah, it's over with for as far as the build up for that fight's here to be made already. And then when Tszyu gets finished with this division at 154, he gonna move up. And if Jermell Charlo still at 160, he gonna go for him and along with Jermell. That's what I like. I like that he's not waiting around as far as fighting everybody because he can now clear out the division. I don't want what's going on with Tszyu to happen. I mean, what's going on with Terrence Crawford? I don't want that to happen to Tszyu. Where Tszyu, that's why I'm glad he cleared out all the division because once Tszyu fights Charlo, I don't want people to be like, oh, go back and fight the young guy, Tszyu. Fight this young guy. Go back and fight the young guy. I want him to fight the big guys. Yeah, I feel like that'll be a good option, though. If Tszyu just waits around and fights Jermell Charlo, I feel like that'll be a good option because a lot of other guys, they're not really trying to clear out the division that way. They're looking around for particular fights. You got guys at 54 that's ranked in top 5. They're going up to fight 60s and 168s because they're trying to make a big money fight. Then they'll turn around and say, I want to fight this guy and that guy. Tszyu's the only guy I know who says, I want to fight so-and-so. And then when he can't get the fight, he'll just fight whoever so-and-so could go fight or whoever's under the champion. He's knocking off everybody under the champion. So by the time the champion, who is Jermell Charlo, comes back, he won't have no reason to go fight someone else. I know people want Terrence Crawford to do that, but I don't want to see Terrence Crawford. Let's just say Terrence Crawford got 2 fights left in him. I don't want to see him fight two young guys that just got in the game, or 2 young guys that just got a belt or opportunity at the belt, because that will give a pass to Jermell Charlo and Jermell Charlo. They'll give them a pass as far as, oh, I don't have to fight Tszyu then. He's fighting Crawford. So I don't want that to get mixed in together. I know people are trying to say, well, I just want the good fight. Well, according to you, that just became the good fight because any fight with Crawford has always been a good fight. So if you haven't been asking for the Crawford fight for the last 3 or 4 years, I don't want to bring other people into this equation because I have other fighters that I've been wanting Crawford to fight for the last 4 or 5 years, including guys like Charlo and other guys. But right now, I just wanted to keep it at a minimum. I don't want to do a lot of just jumping around and matchmaking because it sounds good. It's not really what I want to hear right now. As far as it's not really a good fight to me. But that's what I would accept. I would accept it, but it's not something that I would prefer as far as right now. Like I'm saying, we got champions right now with belts at divisions. I don't want 2 guys that got 1 belt and another one that has none to fight each other right now, while the guys who have most of the belts and are holding up other divisions will be able to sit at home and have a fight with Canelo. And I don't want other guys calling out Canelo either. I don't want, come on, man, like, I don't want to see Canelo fight another guy at 54 right now with Tszyu. Not right now. Cause it would sound better if I was to say, oh, let's just say Tszyu, if he was to get a victory over Canelo, it would sound better to say Tszyu has a victory over Jermell Charlo. If you want to throw Crawford in there, you can throw him in there, and Canelo. You know how good that would sound for a Hall of Fame career? Then after that, he'll be a top dog every time he goes to fight. He wouldn't even have to be looking for any names after that. He'll be known as a guy who took away a whole era of boxers. A lot of guys lining themselves up right now to be in that sort of class with like Roy Jones, James Toney, Bernard Hopkins, certain guys like that. Right now it's becoming that type of era right now, where the guys at 54 and 60, they're coming in doing different things. Cause right now all roads lead to either 160 or Canelo for Tszyu. Jermell Charlo, he's at 160, but he's saying that he's an option for Canelo next. Right now, that's only, I guess we can say that's confirmed, but right now, that's not really solidified. but word of mouth and from what we've seen, that looks like basically a fight that can happen the most right now. I heard of other people like Carlos Adames and other people at 160, 154 options, but I don't see Tszyu as an option. So right now, I would say he should stay around where Charlo is. That way, you can have both fights for both of them. One of them still undefeated, so that would mean something at 160. And he said he's moving up to 160. I think Tszyu gonna clear the division so his brother can kind of reign there for a couple of years before he starts to fill out with his form and move up to 60, or if he moves up anytime soon. But I feel like right now he's gonna let him get as much growth and development at the weight class as he can, because I don't think he's gonna be at the. He's kind of gonna do the same thing like Charlo did with his brother. They was both at 154, and one of them left the division, went to 160, reigning there, and different things like that. Like, I wouldn't see a reason to fight at the same division if you're brothers anyways, and if you don't have to. And if you're already dominating one division, if you can move up, yeah, I would do that too. So that's what I see going on right now as far as with Tszyu. As far as any competition against him, like I said, the Crawford fight. What are the options for Crawford right now? People are saying Jermell Ennis, Canelo. Now people are saying Tszyu. If you would say the so-called diehard fans, they would say that Tszyu and Jermell Ennis is an option right now. Let me ask you a question. So, if that does happen, is that going to be for belts or is that going to be for fun? Like, what are we fighting for as far as with Crawford? Crawford's at the level now where he's fighting for, if it's not money, it has to be for a legacy, because he's putting himself in a position. With the Tszyu fight, the 54 belts wouldn't. The undisputed fight is still right here. We still have the undisputed fight on the line right now with Charlo. We just have to wait on him. Now, if him and Crawford wanted to fight for the spot at 154, if Crawford wanted to entertain that, I would love to see that fight. And I know Tszyu and him would do it. I just don't want fans to use Tszyu and him as a scapegoat for Charlo. I still want him to come back to 54 and handle business, because a lot of times over the years people say at 54 it's been other fighters' fault and not Charlo's, as far as not accepting fights and guys pulling out of fights and things like that, and mandatories and things like that. So basically what Charlo has said in the past is the same thing that he's doing to Tszyu right now, other fighters have done to him. He says, all the fighters that I wanted to fight in the past, when I was asking to fight, they was ducking me. That's what they done. That's what they doing to Tszyu right now. So he should understand more than anybody why Tszyu needs to fight right now. He's been waiting almost 2 years, man. It's been a long time. Probably has been 2 years. No, it hasn't almost been 10 years, because the fight was supposed to be in January. It's been like almost 2 years. Long time, man. Very long time to wait on the fight. To wait on a mandatory, he needs to be stripped if he doesn't, if they don't have anything by early next year, he needs to be stripped. I'll give him a couple of months. At least, 6 months, so that'd be like February. I'll give him till February to figure something out. But by then, it needs to be some changes going on. Because I don't feel like people taking serious the things that I wonder would Canelo even consider Tszyu being in the fight with him. I don't know at this point. I would like to see that. I mean, at this point right now, we're not really fighting in the division. It's been so many things going on, so many clashes. We've had so many head-to-head fights, especially in this era. There's only so many young guys you can try to go in there and try to face. It's not really the point in time where the divisions are really loaded or anything like that. A lot of guys are still developing, especially with the weight class that Tim's around. I don't think that the older guys will try to entertain Tim just because they know he's a threat. Only thing he has to do is just keep fighting what he's doing, putting up the best fights, doing things he needs to do, and that'll keep him where he doesn't have to try to do anything just to try to get a fight. He's in a position now where he can call the shots, especially with people who haven't done anything. A lot of fighters right now haven't really done anything in the division with him, or even above that division. You see, Janovich just got 2 belts easy in 12 months. I figured Tszyu could do the same thing at 160. I would actually like to see him at 60 for a while, because it's not really people that's talking about moving up to 60. I feel like he should have a division where people should come to. We gotta start holding these sanctioned bodies accountable too, man. We gotta start emailing these folks and letting them know that, man, people can't hold on to these belts for too long. Charlo's had these belts for a long time. He hasn't defended them recently. I know he had an injury. He had a real injury. I know he had the Castano fight that he had to wait on. But he's had all that going on. And the Canelo fight was something people really didn't want to go see. I didn't want to go see the Canelo fight. Not as far as watch it. I'm just talking about as far as preferring that. Jermell Charlo wasn't on the top of my list of Canelo opponents. These other guys wanted to see that. I didn't want to see that. I want to see somebody who was actually real good as far as at the weight. When he said, well, I don't know how I'm at the weight. I don't know how you are at the weight. If you don't know how you are at the weight, how am I going to know? I know you had a puncher's chance. But as far as not even having a puncher's chance, just going in there doing whatever, oh no, I couldn't help that, man. Like everyone knows he has the power and everything, but he should have just stayed and fought Tszyu, man. It would have been better on his legacy. Like, a lot of people are disappointed right now because of the way we see Tszyu has been having to wait and positions he's been put in. He's fought a lot of contenders. If he would have slipped up and lost one of those fights, you would have heard Jermell Charlo. He would have been the first one to say, oh, I told you guys about Tszyu. That's the guy you told me. That's the guy y'all wanted me to fight. Y'all want me to fight Tszyu? Really? That's what he would have said. Are the fans for Charlo going to hold him accountable as far as fighting the Tszyu fight? Because now I feel like a lot of guys are going to hold certain people down as far as... Now we hold other fighters accountable to guys we don't like. Like, let's just use, for example, all the guys... I've heard people, like, for example, let me just say I don't like a certain fighter, or I don't agree with him, or I just don't watch him at all. Why do people know other guys' nicknames and different other things like that, but they try to act like, oh, well, Charlo doesn't deserve to fight this person? I don't know. And they know guys' nicknames and backgrounds and all this other stuff. A lot of these fans, they are the part of the reason why Charlo hasn't fought Tszyu. We don't hold him accountable, so why should we fight? Why should they fight Tszyu when they don't hold anybody accountable? You know what I'm saying? That's how they look at it. They're like, well, we're not going to hold this guy accountable, so why should we fight him? But he's gonna feel it as far as going to certain fights and just being out in public. A lot of these fans are rough, man. When you fight in a big fight like that, see, one thing people have to realize is when you're Jermell Charlo and you get a fight like Canelo, and you get all those Canelo fans that come in and they show you all that pride and all the excitement that you like, but you on the other side of it and you're the bad guy, or you just the guy they're not going for, then you realize, oh, this isn't as nice as I thought it would be. No, it's not as nice as you thought it would be. It's definitely not. It's definitely not. A lot of these people are not going to give you a pass when it comes to taking these big fights and not winning a round in a 12-round fight. You can't man, you've been calling the man out for years. You cannot go. Do you know you're going to be one of the only guys that done called a guy out for years and years and years and years and ain't win a round? Nah, we can't do that. We can't do that, man. We can't do that because now we're lowering expectations for other fighters. Now other guys, when they fight certain guys, now we're going to be like, well, he got in the ring, he tried, and no one said Deontay Wilder tried. So I feel like Tszyu, he needs to be solidified, and now we're starting to realize that boxers are like Charlo will try to use certain tactics and things like that to try to go around fights. But without these other boxers like Tony Harrison and things like that, we wouldn't even realize how good Tszyu was. So we gotta appreciate fighters like that in the game. Always. Now we're starting to see now that Fundora was the guy that Tszyu is. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as the real boogeyman. I know at the division they said 154 was Fundora, but Tszyu's the guy. He's a real boogeyman right now. He's basically fighting everyone. He's doing things that no one else is doing right now. Fighting three top 10 contenders in the same year. Then, if he wanted to, he could have fought another fight. So he's doing everything you could ask of, as far as from a boxer. That's all I want. I want a guy who can fight, who just want to fight the best. That's all. A lot of guys, they don't want to do that right now. They want to have excuses of why so-and-so is not doing this and certain things. I mean, you can agree with it, but it's not happening to everyone. And last time I checked, Canelo's not being ducked by anyone, so I didn't see Charlo try to duck Canelo. But you know, he knew what time it was. But with Tszyu, he has to chase people down, and with the ducking, man, it becomes a problem because it's hard to actually prove, or not just prove that a guy's ducking. Like, sometimes these guys, they're not necessarily afraid. They probably just feel like certain guys are a waste of time. But I feel like right now, Tszyu's proving that he's not a waste of time. The real reason I feel like Charlo didn't want to fight Tszyu, I felt like he didn't feel like it was any value out of the fight. Like, I'm a star now, why should I have to fight him? And why would I take the fight? Which a lot of guys do. A lot of guys try to undermine people as far as their record's not good. That's why when it comes to Canelo, I kind of don't agree with him. Because out of all the boxers that you can say that about, you're gonna say that about Demetrius Andrade. Canelo, that's gonna be something like, that's gonna be something that's gonna come back, and Canelo's gonna be like, it's gonna make Canelo look bad. If Andrade goes out there and beats Benavidez, that's gonna make him look bad. Just like with Charlo. You talking about Tim Tszyu and all the other stuff? Well, the guy you call Tim Tszyu, he just went out there and he acted crazy. He got everybody going crazy like he had to do. He going crazy right now. People gonna have to give him some respect ASAP. They just want to use him as a, oh, fight this guy, fight this guy, fight this guy. Don't use him like that. He needs to fight the right champions right now. That's what some of these guys, they just want to do. They just want to find certain fighters that they can try to match against the best. They don't really want to see who's the best at each division. They want to see who's the best overall, pound for pound. And a lot of guys are infatuated with the pound for pound too much. We need to figure out who's the best at weight classes first before we have guys jumping around. And Crawford's earned the right to jump around. He's jumped up from he's cleaned out weight classes. I know people say, oh, well, 47 didn't do it yet. Hey, people ain't fought Jerron Ennis at 47. So a lot of people haven't fought Spence at 47. A lot of people that Sean Porter probably wanted to fight, Manny Pacquiao. There's a lot of people he ain't fight at 47. So you don't get all the fights you want at 47. I don't know how long people been watching the welterweight division, but that's not how it's been going. That's exactly not how it's been going. Guys haven't been just getting a fight when they want to at their weight class. You see how hard it is for Tszyu? And Tszyu, he had to get a lot of good luck behind certain things for guys to even show up in the ring or things to happen, as far as with Tony Harrison and things. Like him being a guy who can come in as a replacement. So we've had a lot of good fights pop up. It's been a good year for 154 with Fandora and you got Mendoza, you got Lubin, you got Ramos. I feel like that division has been the strongest it's been in a long time. The only bad thing about it is you have Tszyu in there. He just hasn't fought Charlo. That's the only thing that's holding it back. And if he was to fight Charlo, then I would be able to see, like, where would he go from there? Because he wouldn't have nothing else to do. He doesn't have to fight Erislandy Lara at 154. Even though I feel like Erislandy Lara deserves a title shot immediately, whether it's with him or anyone else at 54, whoever gets the belts, or if they're if he just gives up the belts or whatever. But he definitely needs to fight, especially a title fight. But I want to see Tszyu at 160 though. I know I'm kind of like trying to move him up fast and put him at a certain point, but I want to see him at 160. I feel like at 160, he'll be stronger. Probably, I don't know if he'll be faster than the guys at 160. He'll carry his weight well. Defenses will be very good. Probably be even better at 160. Guys at 154 are very athletic. So I would like to see that, but that's probably about it as far as I know. But with Tszyu, he's going to cause a lot of problems for guys at 154 and 160. Because now, with 160 being the way it is, they're trying to hurry up the speed. Janibek through 160. I don't know what he think he's going to do after 160 at 168, because 168 has a lot of talent. So I would figure he'll probably stay at 160 and try to get all the belts there. But once Tszyu goes to 160 and he does the same thing at 160, becomes undisputed at 154 and 160, that's going to be a lot of problems. It's going to be a lot of people calling him, asking for a fight. Even if he's undisputed at 54, he's a household name. A lot of people's not undisputed right now, so if he's to become undisputed, he's one fight away. He's going to be a household name. They're not going to be able to deny whether he deserves to fight or not. Especially after the way he's been getting these victories against top guys. He's been beating them like nothing. So he definitely is in the driver's seat. Will anybody try to challenge him at this point? I don't know. I haven't heard anyone saying many things about him. I know after the Tony Harrison fight, a lot of people were put on notice. as far as knowing that he's definitely someone who's a threat. Just the way he fights, his aggressiveness, the way he develops, he can adjust with any kind of fighter. Power doesn't really affect him as far as taking power punches. So anybody with any style right now is really hard to beat him right now. He's looking like the Terminator right now. Ooh, that'd be a good name for him. He said he was looking for a name. I'm gonna start calling him Tim Terminator Tszyu. He said he was looking for a nickname too. I'm gonna give him that nickname. That's gonna be a good one. Hey, tell me if that's a good nickname in the comments. If y'all agree, let me know. That'd be a good nickname. But I feel like right now he's gonna solidify everything in boxing. See, a lot of guys from Europe, you know, people saying like Kovalev and Golovkin, fighters like that, they're not the same as what Tim Tszyu is. Tim Tszyu is way different from Golovkin or Kovalev. Golovkin and Kovalev, they didn't want to fight guys like Charlos and other guys like that. Canelo, he did. So you got to respect that. That's why I would say I know Canelo will fight Tim Tszyu before someone like Golovkin will. So that's why I don't even mention Golovkin no more. Canelo, he'll at least think about it. But he'll think about trying to give you a shot. But Golovkin, he won't even think about it. Especially if you're someone like Tim Tszyu. He'll try to catch you out the hard fight or something like that. But Tim Tszyu definitely someone that needs to go up to 160. Well, he's going to go up to 160, but definitely needs title shots at 160. But once we get this Charlo thing out the way, figure it out, we're just going to have to wait it out. Right now, I would tell everybody to just enjoy the couple of fights we're going to have as far as the Haney, the Benavidez, Andre, and Callum Smith and Bitterby fights. Just enjoy those for right now, and then we'll see what's going on with Tim Tszyu. Because as we know, Tim Tszyu fights 3 or 4 times a year. So it's not like we're going to have to wait around a long time to see who he's going to fight next. And he stays pretty active, especially the way he's been fighting this past year. Hey, he's solidified. If Charlo tried to say, who is Tim Tszyu? Who is that? He says that now? Oh, man. He's going to be looking crazy. Definitely. It's going to be definitely crazy. Because now, people already been saying you've been ducking them. Now it's going to make it really seem like you're doing it on purpose. But the sanctioning bodies, if the sanctioning bodies don't strip them of the belts, then they don't want to just make the fight. I don't know how that's gonna turn out right now, but I don't think they want to lose that a chance at Tim Tszyu being at 154, even if it's for 1 or 2 fights, because that would be better than what they've been receiving lately, as far as with the Castano fight and just 2 Castano fights and 154 for the belts, and that's it. And the first fight was a draw, so you got basically a draw, and then you have another fight where Charlo wins, then he takes a long layoff and an injury layoff. So now you have Tim Tszyu in a position where he's like, well, I fought all these guys. What am I going to do now? And that's where he at right now. He's at a position where he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do right now. As far as if these guys are going to give me the same opportunities that everyone else is receiving. And as far as with Charlo, I'm just saying right now, we can only hope that the sanctioning bodies and everyone do their job, and the promoters do their job. We can only hope right now, because he's put himself in a position where he ain't got to, Tim Tszyu doesn't have to prove himself no more. He's done more than enough at this point. All he has to do is sit back, let everything happen, and realize that he's at the top of the food chain. Just don't let people try to rush you into those situations where they want you to fight some oversized guy or just a guy who's I feel like people trying to rush him into positions now. He don't need to do that. He just needs to wait, and he'll have big names on his resume. He's already slowly getting some on there. He's at a point now where he's gonna be very close to being the top guy, or close to being face of boxing if he keeps doing what he's doing. I know they had the Lara and Danny Garcia fight, but I don't feel like they're in a position where we're gonna put them above Lubin at 54. I mean, some people would say let's do it. Could I see Tszyu possibly fighting them? I don't know. Maybe he would entertain it, but really he's only focused on one person, that's Jermell Charlo. So once that gets cleared up, I feel like the division will start to basically rebuild itself, because he's clearing everything out. No one's really any competition as far as at this point. I would like to see at some point Tszyu's brother have a chance at the title after he's left the division, because right now most of the guys who are at that age and they're younger, they're like, most of those guys are in improvement mode. They haven't been champions before. Most of them haven't even have a belt before. So to say that they're ready to fight someone at that level, I don't feel like they have. They would have to probably fight an older champion at 154 before they try to step in the ring with Tszyu. Because a lot of these guys either got losses or they're still developing. They got to turn around and try to fight lower competition. They're not going to fight higher competition after losing. Or only person that's in a position right now to fight higher competition is Erislandy Lara, and Jermell Charlo is the only option right now. But that division is gonna get loaded very quickly. You got a lot of young guys, young fighters coming up at 154. You got Xander Zayas. A lot of different guys coming at 160. 68, you got Christian and Billy. So you got a lot of young guys coming up right now that's not really waiting around as far as looking for an opportunity. They're gonna fight whoever on the mandatory and move up in the rankings. But I feel like it's gonna be a collision course for Janovic and Tszyu very soon. I don't think Tszyu is gonna wait around and try to go around people like some of the other boxers are right now. I know Janovic said that he can't find a fight right now. People don't want to fight him. He said Lara. I think he said Lara. Man, I hope he said Lara. If he said Lara and Jermell Charlo don't want to fight him, I know Tszyu will fight you. I don't know about Lara and Jermell Charlo, but I definitely know Tszyu will fight you. And that's a fight I'm calling for right now. It's not going to happen soon, but I say in the next 18, 24 months, I want to see that fight happen. Especially in 24 months. At least in 24 months, I want to hear at least become an option or become realistic. Because that's two guys that say that nobody wants to fight them. They're right there at different weight classes. Hopefully it can be done. I feel like that'll be a good fight, especially with the position they're in. They're both around close to the same age. They're not exactly the same age, but they're close in age. Career-wise, age-wise. So that would definitely be a good fight in my radar. That's something I'm pushing for in the near future. Because I don't want fans to keep waiting on other sanctioning bodies and fighters to say, yeah, I'll accept the fight. Because that's kind of what is holding up things now. Even though Andre's been mandatory for a lot of fighters, he still hasn't had the option to fight none of them, especially with Canelo. So just because certain guys are mandatory don't mean you're always going to get the fight. Especially when you're dealing with someone like Canelo or Charlo. They'll have other options on the table, so-called, that they feel like would be a bigger situation than what it would to fight Tszyu. But Tszyu's building himself up, though. So to feel like anyone feel like they're bigger than him as far as status or hype or just credibility or resume, that's definitely not true. He has a better resume than most of the guys that's fighting right now, especially at his weight class. So that excuse that people try to use, like, oh, he hasn't fought anybody, well, that's definitely not happening. He's fought the same guys that Tszyu's fought the same guys that Spence and Charlo's fought, and he's got rid of them quicker and faster. So we definitely considering this. You gotta respect the guys who actually gave him an opportunity, though. Especially like Jeff Horn, Tony Harrison, guys like that, Ocampo. Definitely help him out. It's kind of hard on Ocampo too, because Ocampo, he's had like 2 fights where he could have just went around Spence or these other guys like the rest of these guys do, but he took 2 hard fights. That's the hard part about when you're pushing for these fights, because once a guy puts himself in a position where he can risk it all and everyone else isn't trying to risk their career, it kind of makes it hard, especially when you're in a position where you're young and you just get yourself back to #1 and you got to face a guy like Tszyu. When really, Ocampo and most of these guys like Mendoza, if he would have fought Charlo already, they probably wouldn't even face a Tszyu. He probably would have moved ahead on it already. He probably would have moved ahead already and tried to find somebody else to fight. I'm pretty sure he wasn't trying to press to fight these guys as much as he is now. He's doing it now because they're not giving him any option. When he was just asking for the fight, being nice, people were trying to act like they didn't know who he was and why is he asking about me, and if he's a mandatory, he should just wait and hush. But now we're gonna see, though. I feel like the year is gonna end well with how the fights are going. The Andre fight and Benavidez fight, they'll tell us a lot about how things will go. I feel like Jermell Charlo, him being an option after Canelo fight, that would be. I feel like if Andre loses, especially, Canelo just gonna go with Jermell Charlo, and I don't know if Tszyu's gonna get the fight with Jermell, because I just know the situation, man. Andre been getting the same kind of treatment, man, and it's like I don't know what else to expect, especially coming from what Charlo does and how he negotiates or accepts fights. He acts like he doesn't know who's on the table as far as a fight or a contract, so that makes it hard to kind of get the business done or accept the fights. But that should let everyone know right there that just because you are challenging a guy in a fight, or you fighting the best and you're moving up in the rankings, and you deserve to fight. A lot of these guys still don't think you deserve to fight, even if you're ranked. You can be ranked by whoever, they still want to try to pick and choose. We're not. The only time we'll be in the day where we pick guys that just fight whoever, that would be like when guys like Tszyu. Tszyu's one of those guys, he's gonna be like a throwback fighter. from the 90s. Like how guys like Holyfield and all these other guys will fight guys for just to fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously it's gonna be for a belt championship. Everybody wants to be a champion, but they don't need any special reasons as far as who has the biggest payday. Let me try to wait out for my one big payday so I can cash out or try to build myself up to get that one big payday. A lot of these guys, if you can put yourself in a position like Canelo, you can get a lot of paydays. And Tszyu definitely putting himself in a position to get a lot of paydays. The way Canelo's doing right now, going from division to from one division to another, I know Tszyu can do the same thing. This next generation, he can be the one who does that, because Benavidez is not going to be at those middleweights, and as far as 60 and 54. So with Tszyu, he'll basically do the same thing like Canelo's doing, reign from one weight class to another. If a guy's close in weight, he'll probably consider it, especially if it's a big fight. A lot of guys gotta basically figure this out, man. Especially where we are right now, we don't have any close fights right now with Charlo or Tszyu. So we gotta figure this thing out soon, because right now it's holding up a lot of things in boxing. That's why we had so many title eliminators and so many big 154 fights. There hasn't been that many fights at one weight class, like as far as the top guys. I'll say 35. 154 class and 35. Those are two deep divisions too. But I would say those two weight classes are weight classes that basically have the most action right now. But a lot of guys are holding up fights right now. Got to make sure the belts, like sanctioning body, they got to do a better job. Jermell Charlo, he gotta have his next fight up or something, because a lot of fighters now, man, they got 1 or 2 fights already ahead scheduled. Like look at Ryan Garcia, he already has a fight coming up now. He's got to fight again early next year, so he already knows what he's gonna do. But you have guys with belts and mandatory, they don't even know what they're gonna do yet. At least say, yeah, we're gonna look towards next year, but we're gonna find out though. If my guess is to be correct, I think the sanctioning fees is gonna hold back everything when it comes to Jermell Charlo accepting that Tszyu fight. But Jermell Charlo fight will still be big for Tszyu though, because he will still solidify himself as a top fighter in this era. It ain't like Charlo got knocked out by Canelo. Now let's just say this though: if Tszyu goes in there and knocks out Charlo, right? Let's just say the fight happens. He goes in there and knocks out Charlo. If he does that, and Canelo couldn't knock him out, oh man, that would be crazy. If he would actually knock him out or stop him, and Canelo couldn't do it, that would show a lot of things. Like, we already know that Tszyu is an excellent fighter, but if he goes in there and stops him, that would be way crazier than what's actually happened so far. That's why a lot of fans actually want to see it, because they know he can probably prove himself as far as stopping Charlo in the fight. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually feel like at this point, if he doesn't have a chance, he can definitely win though. Because the way he's taking punches and things like that, a lot of people starting to feel the same way. A lot of people starting to feel the same way. I think people starting to finally wake up to the fact that Charlo's level of competition and things like that just aren't as good as some thought. Not even his level of competition, just a lot of things, like him being active. It's just a lot of factors as far as playing, as far as into if he should have a chance at a bigger fight. You know know what I'm saying? Especially with Canelo. So it was like, with Tszyu, that's still a big fight. That's the biggest fight he can take, but I think he's gonna retire. Like Tszyu said, he's gonna go waste some of that money for a year. Tszyu, he knows exactly what's gonna go on. He gonna chill out. He gonna relax. He gonna disappear for a while. He gonna do like Caleb Plant did for Canelo. I don't know. He might come back. He might not. He might just be like, "Oh, I'm done fighting. I did what I needed to do." You know what I'm saying? But that's just a different level, though. That just goes to show you that even if Crawford won a big check, a big fight, he didn't say, "Well, yeah, I'm glad I'm comfortable getting my money I just got." He's looking for the next fight, that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to wait on the next fight, or prepare for the next fight, or whoever's you're gonna be facing. But just get out here and pick and choose based on where the biggest payday is in this part of your career. I mean, that's good, but just don't say everybody else doing that. When people say that other guys are chasing paydays, and you're one of the guys who actually end up getting a payday, that's actually not a good thing. It's actually a bad thing. Now we're starting to realize that certain guys are the type of fighter that we want to avoid as far as supporting, because we want a fighter who's gonna fight anybody. We're already paying our money to see the best fight, and if we're not seeing the best fights, that's gonna cloud our judgment as far as what we're gonna choose as far as in the future of the people that we want to see fight. And as far as right now, a lot of people who are supporting Charlo, they want to see him prove himself against Tszyu. A lot of Charlo fans want to see him prove himself against Tszyu. Whether he would do it or not, I don't know. I just know that they expect him to try to put up a fight as far as putting himself in a winning category again. But Tszyu is the best thing that has happened to boxing all this year. Because a lot of these guys, Tszyu is the opposite of everybody else. He's anti. Everything I'm against, he's against. He just want to fight the best. He want to get out there, get a check, get a big payday, go home, do it all over again, and that's it. He don't want to do the side shows, the extra promotion, all these other things. He just want to get in the ring, fight, prove himself. That's all we ask. All the other stuff that comes with it, the WWE, we don't want all that. We just want a fighter who's legit, who's fighting for his country. That's it. That's what a lot of guys out here aren't doing. They're not legit, and they're not fighting for anything. So a lot of that stuff's starting to change. We need guys like Tszyu at the lower weight classes. There's a lot of guys like that. I mean, just because a guy loses or whatever, there's a lot of guys like Lubin still fighting and still top contenders and can be future champions. But it's a lot of guys like Charlo that's sitting around here blaming all kind of top fighters of why they're not fighting. I'm so glad that narrative going away. People don't realize I've had to have guys literally tell me some of my favorite fighters are ducking because Jermell Charlo said it. Including, and now he's included Tszyu in it. I mean, how many top fighters is this man gonna accuse of ducking him or being a nobody? The ducking, you a nobody, and you ain't did nothing, you ain't beat nobody. I remember when after he fought Castano, he said that Tony Harrison was better than Castano. I'm like, man, come on. Why even do all that when it was a draw? Well, no, that was the second fight. Which, yeah, you can do all that. But, no, I think that was the second. No, that was the first fight, I think. When he had to draw. No, when he had to draw, that was when he had to draw. When he said Tony Harrison was better than Brian Castano. Him and Jermell Charlo said. What does that have to do with Tszyu, though? He's definitely an option. Are we gonna start pushing for that fight? The way we was pushing for Canelo to fight Charlo? People was pushing for that fight so hard. The guys now who's pushing for the fight, you won't even find them now. If you ask them, hey, did you push for the Charlo Canelo fight? They won't even tell you the truth. Now they're saying, hey, now that Canelo bullied a 54, now they're saying, hey, we want to see Canelo fight at 47 now. It's not even making sense. Then they were saying Crawford's too big. I mean, she's too small for Charlo, but feed him to Canelo and Tszyu. Doesn't make any sense. But I definitely see what's going on though. All we need is just a few more boxers like Tszyu around, which it is. They're coming up. I mean, we have Benavidez now and a couple of other guys like Devin. And man, look, all we need is a couple of these fighters. I'll say we need about 3 more. We get 3 more of these type of fighters, we'll never have to worry about anything again. As far as why this guy's not fighting and why that guy's not fighting, we won't have to worry about anything from now on. There's a lot of narratives being changed now. So now we're starting to see now that things are definitely changing. Definitely changing. We're gonna see though. But I definitely support Tszyu though. Because I had to think to myself, I'm like, hold on, man. Because, you know, I try to be a fair guy, man. Even though I had a problem with Charlo's Demetrius Andre takes, I still supported him in fights and hoped that he won. And even though sometimes I used to think in the back of my head, I hope he get knocked out. But I was like, man, I hope he win. You know, he's from America, I'm a supporter. But now the support is going out the window, man. He's saying too many guys' names without getting in the ring with them and accusing them of bad business that I don't like. So I feel like at this point we should all agree that Tszyu's the boogeyman and that he's not going to have any more options after Jermell Charlo. He doesn't have many options now. I mean, he's clearing the table. He can only do so much. I mean, at this point, he does anything else, it's going to be historic at this point. He's at a historic rate at this point, so if he does anything else, it's not going to be something that's I'm expecting. I don't expect anything out of him right now. I don't know what kind of fight he can actually give right now at this point. So I don't know what to expect. But I hope that everything turns out well as far as whatever he does get done. Whatever he does get done, I hope it turns out very well. Because I'm waiting on a good matchup, man. He's been doing a lot of good things lately. So I'm waiting on a good matchup as far as who he's gonna fight next and what he's preparing to do with the 160 weight class. And Tim's not a guy who's really waiting up thinking of 154. He has plans to do other things. He's not waiting on one guy, so I don't want people to, because, you know, it's almost like with the Crawford thing. When Crawford was chasing Spence, it's like, oh, well, Crawford needs to figure out what he's going to do. And they try to put Tszyu in the same situation, like, well, is he just going to wait on Charlo? And so then when he start fighting guys, you heard people getting quiet and they don't want to mention his Tony Harrison fight, the Carlos Ocampo, or the recent Brian Mendoza fight. You didn't see a lot of guys really promoting. So now we're seeing the cream is rising to the top. You got to start realizing who can actually fight out here. A lot of people don't respect guys from other countries. Like I said, you got to take that next step and learn how to evaluate styles outside of the United States or even outside of Europe. There's a lot of guys in Asia and Australia and other places that are top fighters, not just locally where you are. I have a question. So, if Tszyu faces Charlo and he beats him, would that put him on the pound-for-pound list? It has to be. I feel like if you clear our division and then you jump right into another division, you have to be on pound-for-pound immediately. He has to be. At least, if I had to pick a number, I know people wouldn't like it. I'd probably say, I would probably say 8 at the highest, because it is a pound-for-pound. It could be 9, 10, or 8 if he was to get the victory. There's a lot of things I'm considering now, because I already know. It's either yay or nay on what Charlo gonna do, so I'm not really gonna wait on my decision as far as what Tim has going on, because if he's a person who's gonna basically have options for a while now. He's a younger fighter. He doesn't have to really try to run anybody down or try to figure out what they're doing. He can wait them out. See, a lot of guys, they've been aging out other guys, but now they didn't figure it out. When they come, when you're close to the same age as another guy, you try to age him out, it's not really working. They try to age out Andre. The Charlos will definitely try to do that, because there's no reason why they haven't fought him already. But a Canelo fight, everybody wants a payday, man. Everybody can't build themselves up like Mayweather. They want to matchmake like Mayweather, but they don't want to put in the work like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the one who gave us the fight for Canelo when Canelo was young. A lot of these guys, if they had to fight a Canelo at a young age, they wouldn't do it. The only fighter that would actually do that is Tszyu. I know guys like Benavidez, but I'm talking about these lower ages. I mean, these lower weight classes. They wouldn't give Canelo a chance to fight. They definitely would not do that. They would feel like he's a threat to what they have going on, and that's basically what's going on now. Because as you can see, these guys now they don't want to give a Benavidez a shot. Now Benavidez was solidified. You see now, and what's crazy is Charlo said if he would have won the belts for Canelo, he would have fought Caleb Plant, or he would have been an option. He didn't say Tszyu would be an option. He said Caleb Plant, a guy who just came off a loss. I'm like, really? This guy just came off a loss, and he's an option? I was like, come on, man. That shouldn't even be an option right now. But he is. That's how big getting the Canelo fight is, because once you get a Canelo fight, it's like most of these guys, they don't want to basically drop their value down after that. They feel like fighting anybody who's less than pay-per-view worthy, even after a loss. Like, mind you, Canelo's had many other guys that have lost and jumped in the ring, and now we don't know what they're doing. Some of these guys are inactive, but I don't want to throw Caleb Plant under the bus, but man, he's like, he wants a rematch with Benavidez and Canelo. Then I can understand the Jermell Charlo fight. That's definitely a fight I want to see. Well, he's asking for the right fight. So I'm just saying, like, we're not gonna be able to give anybody else a chance. Like, I don't know what the hierarchy is anymore. Everybody's treating themselves like a superstar. They'll drop their value will go down. They fight anyone who's not Canelo, and that's kind of hurting boxing right now. And it's also hurting boxing. These guys are actually getting the first opportunities, and they're getting multiple opportunities. I know a lot of these fights are built up, but some of them are almost building up way too long. That's a problem right now. We're building up fights way too long right now. Even with the Charlo fight, by the time we get to that fight, we'll probably be so tired of talking about it that it won't even be as exciting as it would be right now if it was to happen. If it happened right now, it'll be very exciting. But let's just say in a year, it probably won't be the same. That's just honestly. Even though I would like it to be the same, it won't be the same. Just because how things are right now. You got a lot of people that can't agree on who should fight who or who's the best, and we still got those kind of arguments going on and those different things. So I don't want to deal with those kind of things right now. I like fighters who can create the big fights. See, the Tszyu and Mendoza fight was way bigger than it would have been a year or two ago. That's because Tszyu has a big buzz around him now. He's one of the elite guys in boxing right now, who's solidifying himself. I know people don't want to admit it. They don't want to sit around and they want to say, well, he can fight this guy. The fact that people are trying to get him in the ring with Crawford, one of the best boxers ever, that just goes to show you right now. The only names they're trying to throw right now is Jermell Charlo, Tszyu, and Canelo. That just goes to show you that Tszyu is at an elite level. And also, Jermell Charlo, you see guys saying now how many fights he got. They don't count nobody else's fights, but they count his fights. So that just lets you know. But I feel like those guys, especially with Tszyu, it's going to be a different time in boxing where we don't have to sit around and wait on certain fights. The fights are going to come. He's already had 3 fights this year. Three big fights already this year. They're not pay-per-view fights, but if you know boxing, they're big fights. And he's showing up. And we still waiting on other guys to fight one time. I don't know what the problem is. These guys can take the same fights, but they don't want to, guys don't want to train that much. They don't really want to do that many things. They're at the position now where they've been doing the 1 or 2 fights a year, and they're comfortable doing that right now. Anything other than the 1 or 2 fights a year, they don't want to spend too many times in the ring or in the gym like that. And these guys are building gyms at home or close by home or different things like that. It's kind of crazy how now those guys who was gym rats, now they're not in the gym no more. And I don't expect nobody to be in the ring all the time fighting, but it comes to a certain point in time where your reputation is going on the line. And anybody who's facing Tszyu and says, no, I'm not going to consider fighting him, your reputation is on the line. Just like with Crawford. A lot of guys, if you don't fight Crawford and you go fight someone else we don't know, and we'll rather see Crawford, reputation going to be on the line. They're going to call you out about it. You might not think they'll call you out, but they're definitely going to call you out about it. Fans these days, they're starting to get a little more knowledgeable. Not really, because they still have the thing where they want to pick and choose certain sides. They can't really separate their feelings from reality. Because the reality is right now, Tszyu is top boxer. Right now. And the reality of it is, he's about 2 or 3 fights from being a Hall of Fame fighter already. I'm just being honest. He's about 2 or 3 fights away, 2 or 3 big fights away from solidifying himself in this era right now. I'm talking about as far as an all-time great. Because a lot of these guys right now, they're not trying to do all-time great things. And this year right here, if I had to make a list of fighters who are top fighters of the year, a top 5 fighter of the year, Tszyu's in that list. And that's a big deal. That means anyone who's on that list should be on pound for pound. Not right now, because he hasn't went through the division yet, but into the next division. But I'm considering him for pound though. I got to. And now we're starting to consider now, when we run down things, okay, let me look at this guy resume at 154. That's why a lot of guys got to realize Erislandy, he's had a long way to go to come back from a Charlo loss. When Erislandy lost and he had to go back and fight all the way back before the Fundora loss, he had a long way to go, man. He had like 6, 7, 8 top guys or top fighters, contenders at that weight class that he had to go through. Top 10 guys, top 15. He had a long way to go. So guys like that, those are the ones that I feel like should get the kind of support as far as from the fans, because he's in the same position as Tszyu, except he's not. He has losses. But they're still trying to find reasons why not to give him a fight or be in the same class as him. When all these guys are in the same class, no one's above anyone at this point. They'll try to make it seem that way or consider other guys to be above them, and I'm on another level and things like that. But like Canelo said, it's a different level when you fight me. And Charlo said the same thing. And Tszyu has a switch as well. Like, when you're fighting him, it's another level that he can get to where he doesn't have to wait on if you're going to attack. You see what he did to Mendoza. I mean, execution. He was just, the pivots. He doesn't look like he's athletic, but he's very athletic. Has great balance. It's gonna be a lot of problems for guys, especially with the era now. There's not really as many 54 pounders as it was in the past era when you had all these guys like J-Rock and all these guys coming up in weight classes. There's not really as many 54 pounders like there are now. So with Tszyu, he's gonna have a way easier way as far as being able to corner off all these divisions and shut them down. It'd almost be like how Terrence Crawford was at 35 and 40. The funny part is, as soon as Terrence Crawford left 35 and 40, all these guys started showing up. Josh Taylor, but when he was at 40 and 35, no one showed up. But it's kind of funny. But that's the position he finds himself in. But I feel like Tszyu will be excellent though. He's gonna figure things out. The plans for next year will come into place. But hopefully any news come up, I will share it. But thanks for the support. Like and subscribe.